Good morning, everybody. Welcome on this fine Saturday morning. Not too fine here in Wales because we've got the rain pouring down, but I'm sure over in Spain, Alvaro, it's absolutely stunning. Yes, folks, I'm joined by Alvaro Carreton, everybody. Of course, F1 Esports extraordinaire from Williams Esports. Alvaro, welcome to ORL.
Yeah, thank you to bring me here. It's gonna be nice.
It's been a pleasure, I got to say, and you're a fascinating human being, Alvaro, because we had a little discussion before we went live on air, and obviously went to and froing on your history in esports and things like that. Obviously, we'll get into that in this interview here this morning, but obviously, I want to talk about just before we go into the thick stuff. Growing up in Spain, I know you said you had a pretty normal upbringing as such, but we want to dive into that. Let's see if we can go through it. Let's talk about your life. I mean, what was it like growing up in Spain? Sports, we spoke a little bit about football. What was it like?
Yeah, since I was 5, I studied in the same school, so my life was all about the same place. I really like it to go outside here in Spain. People really go outside with the weather, and people are sociable. And I like sports. I also played football from 6 to 13 years old, and yeah,
Right,
it was really normal, to be honest.
Well, I know you said before we went on stream, you're you're obviously quite a skinny bloke. You've got you think you've got a lot of pace. So being a winger was your position, shall we say?
Yeah, normally I was a winger or a striker.
Yeah.
I had good pass as well, but in general, I wasn't really. So stop it at 13 and say, okay, I do other things.
Did you score many goals?
Yeah, I had some good matches, but I didn't get the hat trick. Only 2 goals in
Oh,
one match.
oh well, yeah, 2 goals is okay. Nothing wrong with 2 goals,
Yeah,
mate. Yeah, yeah.
it's not bad. It's not bad.
Goals are goals. Goals are goals. Don't you worry about that. Just out of interest as well, favorite team? Have you got a favorite team as well?
Yeah, Sevilla
Sevilla.
is where I live. I've been a supporter, like going to the stadium with like 5 or 6 years. I stopped last year because I had no time
Mm,
with the university and obviously esports.
mm.
But I'm planning to go again in the future.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, I got to say, Spain has got a huge passion, as well as sim racing and racing in general, for football as well. It's huge over there. Obviously, we hear the names Messi and Ronaldo, who have played in the La Liga as well. Historically, they're now legends of the game. I just want to talk to you as well. First discovery in racing, of course. Let's get into the hard stuff now. What was your first experiences in racing? Not necessarily sim racing, more like
Yeah,
real racing, because it always tends to sprout from that point, doesn't it? Where you get into racing, first of all.
yeah. Back in 2010, I was 9 years. I started playing Gran Turismo 5 with the controller. I spent quite a lot of years doing that. I played as well Need for Speed, um, Project Cars a bit later, and then in 2016, uh, I talked with my dad and say, okay, I wanna have a wheel. I've been already 6 years playing with the controller, and I wanna have another step forward in racing games. But I never expected to be where I am now. Obviously, I never expected to work on this. And yeah, I started playing with the wheel. In 2 weeks, I was already faster than when I was on the controller. And then my dad said, "Okay, you need to you need to do something because you are really good and you need to compete in any league or something." I still was playing Project Cars, not Formula One, and yeah, in 2016 I got my first F1 game, and suddenly I was up there, and yeah, the next year it was the F1 Esports. First F1 Esports series, which I didn't qualify, but almost. And then next year, yeah, it happened, pro draft.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, just looking at your early realms into gaming, you mentioned GT Sport, Project Cars as well. Just to ask, what's your favourite in terms of car? I mean, obviously, I know you're in single seaters now with Williams. Did you have like a favourite car in particular, or a favourite type of car? I mean, are we talking GT3s? Are we talking LMPs? Or maybe even remaining in single seaters? Is there a certain car that sort of excited you back then when you first started?
Not really, but I really like the Ferrari from uh, 95,
Yeah.
which has, in my opinion, the best sounding ever
Oosh, yeah.
in any race car for me. Um, yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, and of course Ferrari, known historically for creating stunning cars, and yeah, certainly no surprises there, I suppose. But obviously, we're moving to looking into racing now. Of course, you get in the Formula One game. I mean, how long did it take you after you discovered racing games to get into the competitive side of gaming? You said there that your father encouraged you to do it.
Yeah,
How long did it take before you were competing in leagues?
yeah. I bought my first F1 game on August 2016, and I started racing a bit serious in AOR in December of 2017. So 1 year and a half, more or less.
Wow. Okay. So when you started in AOR, should I say, was it were you on assists then from the get go, or were you did you sort of train yourself to lose them and then jump straight into the no assist league? I mean, was there a process that you took to get to that level?
No, I only joined when I was quite sure that I was already in the top level because I never used assist in my life.
Never
So,
really. Wow.
well, I used a bit in 2016, but not anymore in 2017. and I only joined when I was sure that I was quite fast. I already had done some races in other less competitive things, not serious, and then I joined them. And I actually had pole, win, and fastest lap in my debut in AOR in PS4, so
It's
top
impressive.
tier, which was nice.
That's I got to say that is really impressive. I mean, AOR, of course, historically, a phenomenal league that has developed many of the esports greats that you now see in Formula One. I got to ask as well, what was your career record like in AOR? How did you find the process of getting race wins, podiums? Did you feel comfortable? Were you pretty much dominating from the get go, or was it a steady build up to get to that level?
When I joined in PS4, December 2017, the season had already started. I joined the mid championship, 10 races already done, and I won 4 of 10.
Right.
And then I moved to PC to race against the esports drivers. And but yeah, I was still a bit. Some races really good, sometimes quite bad. And afterwards, it was the Pro Series.
Mm,
Then I moved to I did another season in EOR, and then I moved to ORL.
mm. I got to say, very happy time it was. I'm sure when you joined ORL as well. I mean, we're obviously delighted to have you on board in ORL. I just want to ask as well. Obviously, when you first discovered racing, did you have any inspirations or anyone that you really looked up to where it came to racing? Because certainly, I know a lot of drivers tend to look at certain drivers, like Michael Schumacher, maybe even Lewis Hamilton nowadays, Fernando Alonso, anyone like that. Was there anyone that really caught your eye growing up?
Yeah, obviously the the picture of Fernando Alonso in Spain has been really important because before Alonso, F1 was not really an important sport in Spain. Very few watching it. Yeah, I discovered Formula One because of Alonso and my dad. I was 6 and starting to watch the races, starting to like F1, and yeah. But basically, my dad. Thanks to my dad, I'm here because otherwise I wouldn't have pushed that much to be in the level I am now. But
Mm,
yeah.
yeah. So who was your? What can you remember of your first experience watching a Formula One race? Was there a specific moment? Was it did Alonso win a race? Was it just him being on track, or was it a world championship as such? Or
I don't remember the first race I watched. I don't remember,
oh,
but
there's so many races, I
uh,
suppose, isn't there?
yeah, I remember some races that were quite early in the morning, and I was saying, "Dad, wake me up! I wanna see the race."
Mm.
And he said me, "It's 6 a.m. and you should sleep." And I was saying, "No, no, don't wake me up! I need to watch the race."
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's so exciting though. I mean, I remember my first race. It was back in 1997. Of course, you may think, "Geez, George, you're old," type thing. But yeah, Damon Hill winning the world championship for me, and there was obviously Murray Walker's famous quip, "I've got to stop because I've got a lump in my throat." Thing. Then that's what gripped me. After that, I was hooked. I was every weekend watching it. Myself and my dad sat on the couch watching Formula One, so I can totally understand that, and it actually gave me a huge fondness for Williams. Damon Hill was my favourite driver back then. After that moment, so that was what made me want to, I think, nowadays become a commentator because of Murray Walker as well. So. Which is quite massive. So yeah, definitely these key individuals can have such an important or play an important part in you getting into racing, can't they?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously you spoke about the pro draft, and obviously very tense, situation when you're in a pro draft. You've got so many drivers there from all walks of life across the globe. What is the pressure like sitting in a seat waiting for your name to be called? Just how stressful can that be? Because I can imagine it being really tough.
yeah. I mean, I back then I never been in a real event. I was only at home, And yeah, I knew I was really good back then because in final stages of the 2017 game, I remember I was really really fast, so I was confident I could get picked. I knew I was young, but I was the youngest actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was confident, and I was so lucky because there was something strange with my pedals which I couldn't fix in the evaluation races, which made me lose 1 second per lap, and I'm not joking. And it was later on I discovered that I was pushing a little bit the brake every time, so I needed to put a dead zone. So even if you push a little bit, it doesn't do anything, and it didn't have that. So I was going on every straight with a bit of brake pressed, and in the corners I would go so much faster than the others. But then in the straight I was losing everything and I couldn't qualify, and I didn't got picked in the actual pro draft actually. Um, but later, a month later, I went to the Williams headquarters. I did a private test, and then they picked me.
Oh, super. I mean, what was that test like? Because I know I spoke to JD last week, and when he was at Renault, he was basically going through with me what their process was, and they were flying people in from all across the globe to come into Enstone to do these trials, and they actually spent a good period of time doing this. What was it like for the Williams team? Just how strenuous was it to get picked? What was the process? Was it really hard work? Were there lots of people that they were looking at?
Yeah, they Tino went there as well because it was already confirmed by Williams. I was there and other drivers, which I can say. and and yeah, we did like 2 days of racing, qualifying, comebacks from the back, and every kind of situations. And there was like a point structure, and yeah, I won that. I impressed the bosses,
Always good.
and and yeah, I was picked. Yeah.
Oh, well done. Just want to say then, on that level, obviously getting picked by Williams and being aware of what Williams means as a team, and the history behind it. I mean, obviously, like I said to you before, I have a big soft spot for Williams, just simply from my upbringing from the '90s, because of course they were so dominant back then in real Formula One. Did you ever feel the pressure of that name on your shoulders? Was it tough to go into a team like that, brazened with history?
I mean, you feel pressure with every team you are in because I'm sure
Mm.
because there's a lot of money involved, a lot of people who are backing you. The team depends on you, how well you do, and there's a lot of people watching as well. It's a really important thing. It's not just a game. And yeah, I was really happy when Williams signed me because the facilities, the equipment they have, well, the headquarters are amazing. There's the whole history of Williams is there, and the museum is amazing. Senna, um, like Mansell, everyone, every car is there,
Mm.
and yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, what's it like standing next to a car like that? You're standing next to Nigel Mansell's car,
Yeah,
Senna's car.
I have a big seat next to Senna's car, the one he died, sadly.
Oh, never. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's amazing.
Wow. It's phenomenal, isn't it, to see all those cars there in that showroom, and obviously great pieces of history that can be kept and admired as well, which is superb. So obviously you're with Williams, and you're doing a lot of hard work with them, trying to develop the team. Obviously, when the Pro Series comes round, obviously that's when focus comes in. You've got the job in hand. Obviously, are there any key steps put in place by Williams? Is it all? You've got a strategy. You discuss it. You have to formulate a plan. Is that generally what goes on? I mean, I'd imagine every team goes through the same process in its own unique way. But when you've got something as high profile as the Pro Series, how much preparation is put into something like that?
Yeah, a lot that some people could not even imagine how much work we put into this. Since the game comes out, we normally start getting in the game, and then when it's 2 months from F1 Esports, we normally make a plan, a schedule, um, and yeah, we need to. Everything is really millimetrical, you know. I mean, really detailed. Like everything needs to go perfect. If you want to win, everything needs to go absolutely perfect. There's no room for any mistake. If you do any mistake, you will be in the back. So everything needs to be practiced and perfectly, learned to go to the real thing.
Yeah, and so I mean, what is it like? Time spent on this on the sims? Obviously, doing the practice. Is it? Are you simply doing? Is it just hot lap after hot lap? I know you said before that nowadays, given the competitive increase in the drivers that we're now seeing, obviously, I think we've come a long way since 2017 to where we are now. Uh, is it literally a case you've just got to keep pushing, 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 lap, 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 lap all the time to keep the pace up at each individual track?
No, it's not all about that. Actually, that's one of the least important things
Right.
because obviously you need to be fast, but raw pace isn't everything. You need to be mentally health. You need to have mental health. You need to be physical prepared also because you are going to be sit there many hours a day, and you need to concentrate. I mean, it's better to spend 3 hours at a maximum concentration level rather than overdriving and do five, and you aren't. It's not an efficient practice. You need to practice in the perfect conditions. Otherwise, it's gonna be useless. You are
Mm.
gonna be exhausted after it. It's not good. So you need to make a plan, prepare every situation in the race. What could happen is not only fast lap after fast lap, because you'll see, for example, in time trial, literally everyone sandbag because no, it's not useful to do the world record in any track.
No.
There are a lot of situations and things that can happen which are much more important. You need to prepare physically and mentally. As I said, it's really important the mental thing, being concentrated, being able to deal with the pressure, which is really really huge, and perform when you need to.
Absolutely. I mean, just springing out. I mean, sport has come a long way. I mean, we look at football now as well. Going back into the early '90s, nutrition and mental health was not even considered back then. And obviously, in recent times, I mean, certainly in the Premier League in Britain, Sir Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, when they were managing Man United and Arsenal, they brought in the whole nutrition aspect. That was back towards the late '90s, and now all of a sudden, sport has taken such a massive hold on these elements of trying to improve. Drivers like yourself nowadays that you're following these routines. Just how, I mean, I know you talk about the factors involved in being a great professional esports driver, but how key is nutrition and mental health nowadays? I mean, people talk about it. I think it's a bit blasé, but I think we could probably look into it a little bit more. I mean, how important do you see it in sport here nowadays?
I mean, obviously, it's not as important as real sport because you are not going to be running for 90 minutes, for example.
No,
I mean,
no.
you are sit in your you are sit there, but um, you need to be at least decently physical prepared because you are going to be sit many hours. Your back could suffer, or even your eyes, for example,
Mm,
whatever,
yeah.
and and you need to work out a bit. Otherwise, you are gonna have problems.
Mm.
If you are sit there for that many hours and you don't do anything, you need to move and exercise.
Yeah, keep the blood flowing around the body and all that, and keep
Yeah.
the weight down. I suppose is a bit tricky because, like you say, you're static in a seat all day. Not really a lot of physical activity going along there, is there? Really, I suppose. And
I mean, it's not that harsh, but if you are playing, I mean, if you play 6 hours in a row, you are gonna be tired.
yeah,
I'm not joking. You are because you sweat and it's not that much obviously, but you do physical exercise, and it's important to be a bit fit.
Mm. Yeah. So it's a combination, I suppose, of mental health and I suppose it is an equilateral, really. I suppose because, like you say, you're in the seat all day. You need to make sure you can make it through, and by nutrition and exercise, obviously, you can formulate that, reduce any likelihood of problems. Which I admire that. I think that's brilliant for sport and esports as well. Just to obviously talk as well about Williams as well. They have a lot of involvement in sim sport now. It's amazing to see the growth of the team because not only are they in Formula One, they've obviously done many endurance races as well. I was lucky to commentate on Augustino Canapino as well. Augustine Canapino in the 24 Hour of Barcelona, Catalonia, which I know Williams had a team in, finished fourth place. And I got to say, one of the best team performances we've seen, without a shadow of a doubt. Just how massive is the Williams esports scene right now? Because they seem to be in everything at the moment, and it's amazing to see.
Yeah, the esports team, the sim racing team is massive. So massive that I don't even know some drivers which are in the team. So because yeah, I mean Williams is racing in like in everything.
Mm.
So uh, yeah, I've met a bit of them, some of them, but yeah, there are new drivers coming, especially with COVID. I don't know them in person, and yeah, but I mean, I can be like focused on what are they doing in everything because there are a lot of things which sometimes I don't know what they are doing, but yeah, it's massive.
Mm. So is literally Javi Guerra in control of all of the aspects? Is it, or is it mainly centered around F1 esports, or does he literally have to run the entire grand scheme of things?
Yeah, Javi was the guy who started in in the esports scene, but now we there are more people involved because this is getting bigger and bigger. There are more competitions, and there is more work to do. And now, yeah, we have more people involved.
Yeah, no, it's amazing to see the growth, and obviously the growth in esports itself. I mean, I remember obviously we relayed this to JD last week with COVID-19 wiping out the majority of sport. It's given an opportunity for esports to really grow and flourish. What's your thoughts on the growth of esports right now? I mean, where do you see it going? Is it do you still see it going on an upwards incline? I mean, to me, it looks like it can only go up at the moment.
Yeah, I'll talk you about the sim racing, about sim racing, and my personal situation. I mean, I started racing in 2018, and the support, the audience, the people who was involved in esports is nothing compared to now. I mean, this is getting like this is now a full-time job basically. It's gonna be really soon for everyone, and it's only going up, getting bigger and bigger. More people are getting to know how important this is, how big this industry is, and it's amazing. I have much more support now than 2 years ago, for example, and the prices are bigger and bigger every year. Uh, yeah, yeah, I think this is gonna be really really important in the future.
Yeah, and what's it like seeing like the your heroes of old? I mean, I know Fernando Alonso, who you quite frankly painted as one of your inspirations growing up. We saw him compete in the race not long ago, um, alongside the likes of Jenson Button and many others in sim racing. I mean, would you agree in a sense that it gives ex drivers, ex main drivers like Emerson Fittipaldi, for example, an opportunity to step back in the car? Because I know Rubens Barrichello does as well. Are we going to be seeing more and more drivers from years gone by coming back into racing in an esports sense? Do you think?
Yeah, I mean every year the sims are more realistic. So yeah, real drivers who jumped in the sim help it a lot of people to discover what is esports, what's sim racing is more professional than people think. It's not just a game, And yeah, especially I remember in quarantine, every Formula One driver, well, they were racing the exhibition races. It was quite fun, and a lot of people started watching esports because them playing the game. So it's really good. Um, the audience, as I say, the audience is getting bigger and bigger. So yeah, bright future ahead.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's good for all of us, I think, hopefully. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Now, obviously, we're going to reach into the second half of this conversation. I want to obviously tread back into the esports limelight because, of course, I think that's why everyone wants to hear from you, Alvaro. I mean, obviously, the Pro Series is currently underway. Uh, you've sort of had it's been a bit of a strange year for yourselves in Williams, really. I mean, you've been up there for pace. I mean, we know what Alvaro Carreton's capable of. We've seen it frequently, and obviously you've had some maybe some bad luck as well. Tread on your toes this season. Just can you summarise the performance so far and how you feel the Pro Series is going for you right now?
Yeah, I mean, expecting more, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I'm driving better than ever, but this year I, I've been struggling a bit more to get that extra pace that I had last year, because I'm sure with my current driving and last year pace I could be up there, mm, almost 100 points or even more. I'm really sure, but yeah, I mean, the fact that we are racing at home made me even more confident that I could do well. And yeah, obviously I have pressure as well, but I'm really able to deal it. No, it's not been a really problem. But yeah, a bit unlucky. I haven't got a podium yet. Two P4s. We are P7 in the team standings. Myself P9. Kind of last year. Uh, but yeah, we'll see what can we do in the last event.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, everyone's. I think everyone's getting themselves psyched up, ready for that last event. It's going to be obviously a blinder. I mean, obviously, Jana Watmir is at the top end of the field, and there's still people or drivers that can have a go for that P1 spot. Obviously, Red Bull currently on top in terms of the team championship. And I want to tread on that because obviously there's a lot of pressure on the drivers at the moment because obviously the team championship is the vital one, and that is where the prize money comes into effect. I mean, just what are the conversations like when it comes between a team and a driver? Just how give us a sense of the pressure that they put on you as drivers. I mean, obviously, I think they like to obviously keep it positive and try and keep you going because at the end of the day, the team prize is the important one, isn't it? I suppose it's the it's
Yeah,
the big one.
obviously the big prize is shared in the team championship, but now this year there's also a bonus from the first driver and the fifth in the driver championship, so that's interesting for sure as well. Obviously, I'm out of that at the moment. I don't think I'll reach that, but yeah, uh, yeah. A manager needs to push yourself to do better. If you do go, obviously congratulate you, but if you do some things wrong, he needs to push yourself and say, okay, everyone can have bad moments, but you need to recover. You know how fast you are. You know how good you are, and yeah. But conversations are quite long, to be honest.
Yeah,
But we talk about everything.
yeah. I'd imagine they're
But yeah,
more constructive conversations. That they you sort of look at the race or look at the footage and say, look, we need to perhaps work on this for next race. Maybe there's some things we didn't do quite right. So it's sort of something you can work on back in the practice room or something like that, or on the
yeah,
sim.
we try to record qualifyings and races every round, and after the event, we normally analyze it. What went wrong? What did I do good? What did I do bad? Um, and yeah, try to learn from mistakes, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's fair enough. I mean, you got to learn from your mistakes somehow. You got to make mistakes to learn. So it's fair enough. It's fair enough. I mean, obviously, like you said, the Pro Series very very tough. Obviously, the quality from 2017 to now, and we spoke about the platforms maybe suiting different drivers better than others. Brendan Lee, of course, winning the titles that he did. All of a sudden now he's been swallowed up, I think, by the new the new generation, should we call it? I think obviously we get new generations in esports, don't we? Is it just simply that the quality of the grid just get stronger and stronger every year at the moment? Is that what you believe it to be?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously the quality and the level is higher every year. Now, if you are 2/10 off pole, you are gonna be P8, P9, even P10, you know. And last year, if you were 2/10 off Brendan's pole, you probably were P4 or P3 because he was on another level himself. But yeah, it's amazing. Like, well, we already have seen how close the grid is in qualifying, and a little mistake can send you drop to Q1. Even yeah, we've seen big names dropping in Q1, so anything can happen. You need to perform when it matters. Normally you only have 2 laps, 2 new tires, so it's all about those 2 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's amazing to see the delta times being so close, and it must be so frustrating to put out what you believe to be a quick time, and then all of a sudden be eliminated in Q3 or Q2. I mean, we see so many big names. Daniel Dad, for example, who he's had a few unfortunate scrapes. Fielded lap times that seem to be so brilliant, and yet gets stung at the last minute and losing a spot. We all saw, I think it was Vietnam, where he got into Q3, I think, and he was absolutely delighted, the emotion on his face. Literally, when you reach into those Q3 heights, does sometimes qualifying feel a bit more, should we say, involved than the race? Because you're obviously thinking of that next step. Do you feel that overwhelming sense of relief when you get through to the next stage?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, you like going through sessions.
Yeah.
I think the hardest moment is maybe obviously if you are really fast you don't even matter, but for me the hardest moment is final laps of Q2 because it's a really big difference starting from P11, P13, whatever, than fighting for pole. It's a big difference. So for me, I think that's the hardest moment to control the pressure. But yeah, it's really, really hard.
Yeah, I mean, you've had some spectacular moments in F1 esports, and we've seen it over the course of the season. Obviously, you had pole positions. You've just been outside the top 3 positions as well. I mean, obviously, looking back at those results, you can obviously see that you're definitely up there in the top end for pace. What do you believe you need to do to get into that podium spot? I mean, we spoke before previously that hardware comes into it, the game itself. Obviously, not everything is in your control, is it? Just talk us through what you believe that would get you up into that top 3. Do you think?
Yeah, I just need the extra pace that I had last year. That's it.
Put the rocket boosters on the back.
Yeah, because yeah, I feel like I'm driving better than ever. Said, and important fact is that I've never been more than 2/10 off than my PB in any official session yet, which is quite amazing to be honest. But yeah, last year my PB was always pole, and would have been pole obviously. And now this year there were some tracks which I was quite amazed to see that we were off pace. And yeah, but we need to find that extra to fight again for the top. We'll see in event 4.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be intriguing, I've got to say. And just looking at the circuits that are ahead, you spoke before we went on air about the tracks that you believe coming up suit you as a driver, you think. Obviously, to summarise, your favourite tracks, what are your personal favourites? Have you got anything from years gone by that you sort of prefer? What is an Alvaro Carreton track? Is it a street circuit? Is it a traditional proper circuit? What are your thoughts?
I like those circuits where you have high speed and mid high speed corners, like Silverstone, China, Japan. Uh, and yeah, I also like Brazil quite a lot. Last year I got podium there. Last year in Japan I got pole. So yeah, I hope I can replicate those results. I know it's gonna be even harder this year because of the level we have now and the fact that this is a different game. But yeah, we'll try.
Yeah, well, I've got to say, we'll look forward to seeing what you can come up with. Obviously, I want to express a note as well to the people in the chat. If you want to leave questions for Alvaro, we'll have a little bit of a question segment. I think, Alvaro, you're willing to take some question segments with 10 minutes to go on
Yeah,
the
sure.
broadcast. So, yeah, please filter those in the live chat, folks. Obviously, Carreton wants to hear from you, and he will answer all your queries. I'm sure we'll pick out some of the best ones and go through them. Obviously, now I want to speak about ORL as well, Alvaro,
Yeah.
because you were previously with the league as well over the years. Obviously, you have to dip in and out due to professional reasons, things of that nature. Just obviously going back to league racing, like esports has come a long way. I think league racing has too. I think over we've seen a huge generation or a generation change and new features and new ways to make it better have occurred. What are your thoughts on ORL at the moment? Judging from where you were to where you are now, because obviously you were in ORL before I was. So talk us through that evolution.
Yeah, I mean, these kind of leagues are really useful for new drivers to show themselves how good they are and say, okay, look, I'm able to drive in esports. And yeah, for us, it's kind of good for practice, racecraft. We know that there are more esports drivers in there, so it's not exactly the same, obviously, but it's useful to practice real situations and real racecraft, which uh, are really important then for the official races. And yeah, the level is really high as well there. So yeah, I'm planning to be back after the season ends.
It'd be great to see you battle against the other pros that we've got in the league as well. It's tremendous to see the quality each week, and obviously the grid seems to be getting tougher and tougher. Obviously, it's places like this or leagues like this that sort of birth new talent, if you like. We sort of see new drivers coming in, very much like yourself. You look back at your when you first started in esports, and you were literally getting into AOR, trying to be competitive, winning races. What would you say in terms of a new talent perspective? What advice would you give to young drivers looking to come through into the esports ranks?
Yeah, obviously join league racing as I did as well to show people that I was able to drive in the biggest thing. And yeah, take it serious because it's really important to not okay, I'm going to race because have some fun and that's it. I mean, obviously you need to have fun. Obviously, you are not going to drive that much, but take it serious, practice, and yeah, try to do well in each race.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a huge thing now, and I was talking to you, remember, before the stream about how the dynamic has changed in entertainment these days in sport and esports for that matter. Whereas growing up, people would have watched the TV or the television to watch the sports stars of today. They're now on live streams and things like that. And would you say that it's shifted a little bit now, and that the esports stars are now the big celebrities these days through streaming? Because I know that you get quite a few messages in your inbox. I think from fans who want to ask for advice, tips, and obviously just want to congratulate you on what you're doing. Just talk us through that. Do you notice a change in the wins?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for example, when I started in 2018, yeah, as I say, I maybe had a few messages, some support, but no one was really going to there. But now is amazing, and I'm not the obviously I'm an average sports driver. I'm not the best, obviously, but
Well,
still
you're
I
still
have.
up. You're still up there. You're fighting.
Yeah, I always try to. I always try to be up there. Obviously, I'm not a champion, but we'll
Not
see in the
yet.
future.
Yet.
Not yet. I'll try every year, But yeah, it's amazing. For example, in Instagram, I had when the season started, I had 2K, and now I have 3K. So it's amazing.
That's good.
And yeah, I'm planning to start on Twitch soon. Start focusing much more on Twitch. Marcel, for example, is a really already a big name. So yeah,
Mm.
it's
Well,
really nice.
hopefully you can give me some tips then on streaming on iRacing or something like that. Give me some racing tips or something like that. But I want to talk about as well, just briefly. Obviously, we've heard recently Fernando Alonso is returning to Formula One for Alpine, and going back to what you were saying before, big fan of you. You were a big fan of him growing up, and he was a huge inspiration to you getting into sim racing and becoming this esports driver that you are nowadays. Just talk about him coming back to Alpine. What does that mean for the sport of Formula One? What does it mean for 2021? And what does it mean for new drivers coming through and discovering motor racing?
Good question. I mean, yeah, obviously, Formula. I like to have more cars on track. To be honest, I think 20 are. Um, yeah, we could have more. Obviously, more brands involved, which isn't the case at the moment. Honda leaving, so we only have two engines available for all teams at the moment. So yeah, I mean it's good for the sport. New brands arriving, but obviously we need to yeah, not forget that Renault is leaving, which is bad as well for the sport because Renault is a really big brand. Obviously, I'm happy because Fernando is back, and we'll see how he does because 2 years without racing a Formula One. Um, it might be difficult to get back, and he's already 40 years old. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, well, we see drivers getting older and getting back in the car. Jenson Button did it a couple of years ago. He sort of subbed in, but when I think it was when Alonso left to do the IndyCar, I think it was, and
Yeah, in the car.
but yeah, Button came in and replaced him. So it definitely can be done. Obviously, is your biggest fear that maybe 2 years out might be a bit too long, and that you might struggle given the new youngsters are coming through now, and we're seeing like Mick Schumacher's just signed. Mazepin has just joined as well in the Haas team, and so many young Formula Two drivers now. And I've got to say, Formula Two is looking stronger than than it ever has done. Uh, do you see there being a real surge in talent in the future? Could we be getting back to equal status?
I mean, it's obviously a shame for the youngsters that Alonso came back because everyone wants to get in Formula One, but it's important to remember that Alonso has a big influence in in the whole world. Basically, he has a lot of. He's really important for the brands. He has big audience, you know, and oh yeah, and he's obviously one of the best drivers in history.
Hmm.
So I know he might be old, but Schumacher came back when he was 41.
Did.
So yeah, we'll see.
And don't forget Schumacher put in a phenomenal pole time in Monaco as well on his return, which eventually got scuppered by a penalty,
Yeah, he
which was a
spent
shame.
4 years without racing, which is even harder.
Yeah,
Uh, and he did not bad, to be honest. So yeah,
yeah, and definitely at one of the most difficult circuits in the world. I think Monaco still remains to be the most difficult. Would you agree?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think when people look at it in league racing and they see,
Well, maybe in the F1 scene it is, but
yeah,
Macau seems even harder.
yeah. I was going to say, I think even looking at league racing, I think when drivers see or the sim drivers see Monaco coming up on the calendar, they think, I'm missing it this week. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't want to race there, but
Don't crash.
no, yeah, don't crash. Yeah, yeah. Raskas, Anthony Nogues, don't want to bin it there. But yeah, no, it's or Sandovot. People say, no heroics into Sandovot. But yeah, obviously we speak about new talent. So and you gave your thoughts on the advice. Um, I mean, we're seeing new drivers come in all the time. The Challenger Series now has been announced. Obviously, we've seen a lot of drivers coming through, a lot of new names, new faces. Is there any specific ones that are coming through that you've got your eye on that could be potential world beaters going forward?
Um, yeah, there are new drivers that are quite fast. Some of them that should be racing, but I mean it's gonna be hard for them to be honest because the level is already really high. So they'll need to work a lot. I know some of them are going to get into sports, but yeah, obviously there aren't that. I mean, there are only 30 spots, and there are already really good drivers. So yeah, will be hard.
It'll be very tough indeed. Well, we've had lots of questions in as well, Alvaro. So I think we're going to spend the next 10 minutes dissecting some of these questions, and hope you've got your question hat or your answer hat ready, should we say. We'll look at this now. You've had lots of support in the chat. Obviously, we've had the likes of Juan Fulana Reynez. I'm not sure whether that's a familiar name to yourself. We've also got messages from Black Panther, CRG Mathis, as well as Speed Barry as well, your fellow esports colleague as such. I know he's in the Mercedes, but obviously COVID has stopped him from participating in recent weeks. Decky as well, Cara the man. But we'll just have a look at some of these questions now. Black Panther has the first one. If you had to choose between meeting your favorite F1 hero or your favorite Sevilla player, what would you choose?
F1 hero by far.
Is it? So it'd be Alonso. I'd imagine it'd be Alonso. I'd imagine.
Well, I mean, I like to meet. Obviously, it's impossible, but Ayrton Senna.
Ayrton
For
Senna,
me,
yeah.
he's the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I mean, you look back at that footage of him at Monaco with the stick shift, and
yeah, for sure. I watch many on boards from him and many races, spectacular recoveries, everything. For me, is the best. And yeah, I mean, I can go to the stadium and see a player, but for me, it's more important Formula One.
Yeah. So would you say Ayrton Senna, in your eyes, is he the greatest of all time?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think a lot of people would testify to that answer as well. He certainly was. I was very unlucky. I was only 2 years old when he passed away, unfortunately. So it was a shame. I missed out on Ayrton Senna. I just came afterwards, and back then it was. I think my first season was Damon Hill and Jacques Villeneuve. Was my first season with Formula One. But looking down as well, Juan Carrasco, an easy one. Russell or Bottas?
I mean, Russell is in Williams, so Russell.
Not biased at
no,
all.
But I met him as well. I mean, not in real life because COVID, but I've been talking with him, and he's a really nice guy. He's quite funny. Yeah, he's also a really good driver. So.
Yeah. What was your thoughts on his FP1 yesterday? Because I got to say, it was the first time he jumped in the car. He looked really impressive, didn't he? I know they're saying don't get it too excited about it, and I know people keep saying that, but I can't get over the fact that he's just jumped into that Mercedes today after driving a Williams car all season, and by far, respects obviously Williams have their struggles, but it's a very different sort of contrast, isn't it? Jumping in from a Williams car, which is fighting a different battle, to a Mercedes, which is fighting a totally different battle at the front end of the grid. Doesn't it make that FP1 more interesting in that
Yeah,
sense?
I mean, I expected him to be fast because I mean he's been driving a Formula One during the whole year. It's not like Hulkenberg who stepped back and then come in again. But obviously it was impressive to see him P1 both sessions actually. I thought I mean I expected him to be really fast for qualifying already. But yeah, it's been amazing that see him P1 in both free practice.
Yeah, amazing to see. Another question here from Juan Carrasco. Do you think all of the equal cars are absolutely equal?
I mean, these discussions has been there for years. I mean, I don't know what to say. Maybe the difference is like cars visually are different between them, so and engines as well sounds different. So that could be different. And obviously, if you are used to drive a car and then you jump to another, you feel like weird. But I think in terms of road pace, they are all the same. I guess.
Yeah, I think generally the perspective is is the same. I think some people do quote that there's a little bit of difference from feel, but it's a strange thing. We just had CRG Mattis as well. Verstappen. Well, he's put Verstappen, Arrow, Alonso. What is your perspective on that? Would you be more of an Alonso man or a Verstappen man?
I really like Verstappen, and I think Verstappen right moment is top two of this grid easily. I think he could become one of the best in history. I mean, he's already 5 years in Formula One, but he's still really young. He still needs to fight for championship and deal with real pressure, because at the moment in Red Bull he's really comfortable. He has a teammate that is not really pushing him, and he's gonna be in the podium easily. There's something strange, so he needs to deal with real pressure and see how he does.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's certainly showing to be a huge talent at the moment, and certainly a proven race winner. We're looking at this now, boxing this lap. Who do you think will win the 2020 Esports Championship?
I think it's gonna be Opmer. Yeah, he has 30.
You're not just saying that
points.
because JD's in the chat, are you?
I mean, no, but seriously, this year has been incredible for him. I didn't expect it, to be honest, but yeah, he's been amazing the whole year, and if he can keep the gap to Red Bull, which I think he could, yeah, I think he will be the deserved champion.
He's certainly proven to be a world beater indeed. TRL Limitless, he's questioned Austria Esports pole lap. Is that your best ever?
No, it's not actually. I was a bit off my PB, to be honest. Not much, but my best lap in history was Japan pole lap last year, because it's it's interesting, because I spent the week before in the boot camp training, and in the boot camp I never did a lap that good until the qualifying. So I was only 10,000 from my PB, 10,000. Which I did at home, and then in the boot camp I didn't do a lap that good until real qualifying. So for sure that was my best lap ever.
Oh, well, phenomenal effort nonetheless, and certainly pole at Austria, a phenomenal effort as well. Looking now, we got Decky. What do you expect from Seb next year? I think obviously you mean Sebastian Vettel, I believe, in the Aston Martin car, because obviously a new team joining next season. Very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, he seems really motivated to go to Aston Martin this year. He's gonna have an environment that suits more, maybe a good car, so maybe he will be up again. We'll see.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully you will do. Great former champion, of course. Javier Guerra, your team boss, is in the live chat as well. Calde or Calder? Do forgive me, I'm not au fair with that question, but obviously I'll allow you to answer it. But I think we've lost your volume there, Alvaro. You coming through?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, it's a joke that we have both. Not really appropriate to say it here. But,
all right. Pressure's on. You can tell Javier after that, after the podcast. CRG Mathis question: was your Austria pole lap this year completely perfect, or did you make a mistake somewhere in the lap?
Yeah, as I said, it wasn't perfect. It was really good, but for example, in sector one, well, sector one is basically tar one. I was losing time compared to my previous lap, like 30,000. But then I did a really good sector 2 and 3, but it wasn't perfect. I mean, every sector could be improved. So yeah.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, there's no stopping the search for improvement. That's for sure. Obviously, Louis Welch as well. Obviously, a lot of people know him as Lucas UK in ORL. Louis says, "Will you join ORL back when esports is done?" That is the big question. He's obviously trying to scout and look at the talent for next season, by the sounds of it.
I said it before as well. I'll jump back to ORL when I finish the season, because I want to keep practicing racecraft and real racing for next year. And yeah, I hope that there will be more drivers involved.
Yeah, and you miss me as well, of course.
Yeah, for sure. Your comms are great.
Thank you. No, I got to say it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'd like to thank you, Alvaro, for joining us as well. You're a cracking human being, a true professional, and I must say, we look forward to your esports career, and we'll look on it with great interest as well. I certainly think at this moment in time, your story is just beginning. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more from the Flying Spaniard. I need to try and make up some new nicknames, I think, for people. But yeah, you're going to be a phenomenal asset to Williams for the many years to come. Already, the likes of Decky saying good luck in the last races. Just to say, how you feeling going into the last races before we close out the stream? Are you feeling confident? Are you feeling happy in yourself? And looking forward to the final part of the Pro Series?
Yeah, I really like the tracks, apart from Mexico Sector 1. But yeah, Brazil and Japan are amazing tracks. I really like them. I really enjoy driving those tracks, and I've been fast in the past, so why not this year again?
No, absolutely. Well, we all of us at ORL wish you the very best of luck, Alvaro, and we of course look forward to seeing you next season back on the ORL grid as well. So thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. For everybody in the live chat, thanks ever so much for joining us here on the ORL Warm-Up Podcast. Tomorrow we will be back for the ORL Japanese Grand Prix as well. That'll be live from around between 7:30 to 8 o'clock. So do please join us for that. The stream will start around about 7:30. The race will begin, or qualifying will begin, at 8 o'clock. Obviously, do join us for that. Myself and Jack Canan will be on hand to bring you the live action from that race, and indeed look forward to seeing you there. Don't forget as well to like all the socials and subscribe to the ORL channel, and don't forget as well to check out Alvaro Carreton's link as well down in the bottom. You've got his Twitter link down below, so you can stay up to date with everything going on in his world of esports. Not forgetting as well, he will be starting a Twitch channel very, very soon, so I highly recommend you check that out when he gets that going. I'll be watching Alvaro. But yeah, folks, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you next time. From me, CRGGO, pedal to the metal. Go, 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 go.